Am I the a-hole for returning the money to my mother-in-law in front of everyone, embarrassing her? Me, 28 female, and my fiancé, 27 male, are getting married in March. I come from an upper-class family, and my fiancé is lower middle class. This is a delicate matter for his family. Despite me being able to pay all the costs of the wedding, my parents gave the equivalent of 70% of the value of the wedding as a gift, which would be around 30K, fictitious value. And fortunately, my parents did not use this gift as an excuse to control everything at a party. When my fiancé's parents learned that my parents had given this gift, my fiancé and I didn't mention it, but my sister-in-law snitched to them. They decided to give their gift as well, and gave 3K, an amount for which I was very grateful to have received, and I deeply regret doing this, especially for my mother-in-law. I don't plan on having a traditional wedding party. My dress won't be white, lilac. There will be no religious ceremony, and it will be a party for only 30 guests, and my fiancé agrees and supports this. This bothers my mother-in-law a lot, especially the dress not being white. Over time, she gave up on imposing the idea of a big party and not having a religious ceremony. But the dress is something she annoys me too much. And it continues even though I snapped at her, or my fiancé tells her to stop. Because of that, we are in low contact with her. Yesterday, it was my sister-in-law's birthday and I went with my husband. Obviously, my mother-in-law was there. Not even 5 minutes after I stepped into the party, she started again with the idea of me having to wear white because it's an important tradition. And it got to the point where she was talking to her sisters about how this new generation doesn't respect traditions and that she was sorry/afraid of these new parties. I had my limits when she spoke loud and clear that in her time the bride and groom respected their parents' opinions, even more so if they helped pay for the wedding. I got very angry and said, "Enough. I can't take it. It's not worth listening to other people's nonsense for this money." I had this money in my pocket and was going to deposit that same amount in the bank later, but I gave up and gave it to her in front of everyone. And I added that now she won't say anything because she's not helping. This generated a confusion of tremendous proportions. My fiancé's entire family fighting with me, saying that I humiliated her in front of everyone and demeaned the amount they gave. Well, I had to leave early so it won't get any worse. My fiancé understands why I did it, but said it wasn't my best moment and I could have done it in private and not in front of everyone. Am I the a-hole? Extra? Explaining some doubts in the comments. 1. It is not dollars and the values are fictitious. It was only given as a parameter of values only. 2. I didn't have exactly 3K in my purse. Translator was wrong here. It was close to 3.2K that I was going to deposit after the party. 3. I've lived with my husband for years. We've been married for years, and we're just getting it official, so I call him husband or fiancé, whatever. 4. My sister-in-law found out about this money because my husband, as they are very close, told her that he was happy that my parents covered more than half of the expenses, and this amount not spent on the wedding ourselves was saved to start IVF next year. Ha ha ha, not the a-hole. Sucks to suck mother-in-law. Act like an A in front of others. Be treated like an A in front of others. Right? It's OP's wedding, so she can wear what she wants. If she wants to wear a frickin' potato sack, she's entitled to wear a frickin' potato sack. Leave it alone, mother-in-law. Not the a-hole. House elf-themed wedding. They are wearing potato sacks and exchange socks to be free together. Not the a-hole. Never understand the argument that people who start crap in public should be given the consideration of dealing with them in private. Mother-in-law started it. You finished it. She'll think twice the next time. Exactly. Nip that thing in the bud now, and next time maybe she'll know to behave. She is not in charge. Not the a-hole. Had you done it privately, mother-in-law still could have continued, since no one knew you gave the money back. She didn't give you problems privately. Why should you give her more consideration than she gave you? If she's embarrassed, too bad. She made you feel bad, and now she's the victim? No way. I'm glad she did it publicly. I fear that if she did it in private, future mother-in-law would have twisted things around. Next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my mother-in-law out after she watched the kids? I will be quick here. Mother-in-law came to babysit our 3 kids on Friday, 12-year-old twin girls and 9-year-old boy. She arrived at 7 p.m., was supposed to be there at 6, and the kids go to bed at 8. She stayed until 2 a.m. I paid her $150. So for 90% of the time, the kids were in bed, sleeping. When I get home, I find my mother-in-law sleeping on the couch, as she usually does when she babysits, and she usually stays the night. But things were completely out of place. Like my room had been gone through, my computer personal files had been left open, definitely were not up when I left. Files that contain intimate photos of both me and my husband, mind you. My dog was fast asleep on my bed versus put in her kennel. Strict no dogs on the bed rule, which she is aware of. Her garbage all throughout the living room. Candy wrappers, snot rags. My bathroom completely rearranged and trashed, including all of our clean towels sitting in the bathtub. The only thing I really had a problem with was my computer. Everything else was the icing on the cake. Like, why are you going through my computer files? I have personal info in there, contracts with clients, and again, intimate photos of both me and my husband. And we have a strict no one allowed in our office rule because of this. So I woke her up and told her she had to leave. My husband was just dumbstruck, wondering what the heck happened to our house. So when I told him I was kicking her out, he just nodded because he was baffled that she went through my computer as well, and pretty embarrassed thinking his mom just saw those photos. So I kicked her out, and she is asking what she did wrong. And I asked her at this point what the heck she was doing in my office, rummaging through my computer files. She claims she was looking for solitaire, which she knows wouldn't be deep in 8 different files marked intimate and personal. So that was BS. She starts freaking out, saying she will just leave in the morning. And I say, no, now. She leaves. We wake up to several texts and nasty voicemails saying we are wrong, and that if I didn't want people going through my things, I should put a lock on it. I do have a lock on my computer, but it's her son's birthday, so not that hard to hack. Am I the a-hole? Completely and utterly not the a-hole. She's come into your house, wrecked the place, invaded your privacy and breached your trust. You have every right to kick her out. What's even worse is that you paid her to do this. It sounds like she has absolutely zero respect for you. Mother-in-law is super gross too. What kind of person looks at intimate photos of their son and his wife? I wonder if she was expecting to find someone that wasn't her son in the pictures? Not that I think Opie is cheating, but that's about the only thing I can think of that would prompt me to look through images like that. Not the a-hole at all. If she has a smartphone, which I know not everyone has, but is a statistical assumption, she can have solitaire on her phone. So why was she on your computer? Also, you really need to put a better password on your laptop, especially if you have directories clearly labeled intimate. If she wants solitaire so badly, include a guest account that has the solitaire icon right in the middle of the desktop. What a bizarre situation. Does she have an issue with alcohol or pills? Or does she show any signs of dementia or Alzheimer's? This sounds like the actions of someone completely out of sorts. You have to pay your mother-in-law to babysit? Is this a normal thing? Anyway, not the a-hole. Sounds bonkers. My mother-in-law made me pay her to help with laundry when my kids were little. And I was also taking care of my severely disabled mother. Oh, and we'd have to throw her something for gas money like $50. Seriously, some people are something else. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for saying I told you so at my sister-in-law and brother's wedding? I, 27 female, have known sister-in-law for 3 years. She's the type of person that always needs to be right and needs to be in charge of everything. She's very demanding as well. My sister-in-law's family members are very disrespectful and rude. They don't clean up after themselves, expect everyone to act like maids or servants around them, and they think very highly of themselves. They can never be wrong and think they can do no wrong. Because of this, my sister-in-law's family don't really punish their kids, like they have no consequences. They aren't even like the gentle parenting type either. My sister-in-law's sister has a son, and he's extremely chaotic. He throws tantrum if he doesn't get something, and he has to be center of attention 24/7. When there are birthdays, he needs a gift or opens the gifts. He needs to blow out candles. It's frustrating, which is why I'm not usually around at family gatherings and other stuff. I was my sister-in-law's maid of honor since her friend canceled on her and I was helping make invitations. I saw one of the names for sister-in-law's nephew. I asked if she wanted him to go, and she said yeah. She then asked why, so I told her why. I talked about his tantrums and how he'll probably throw a fit during the reception and other stuff. She got mad and said that I didn't know what I was talking about. Then she told my family and her sister, which caused her sister to write me a message saying how I was wrong and other stuff like that. Well, day of the wedding comes. Everyone comes in happy, except nephew. He's crying and is about to throw a fit. When my sister-in-law came out, he literally started screaming. The poor pastor had to stop and wait for the parents to leave. During the after party, he was back, and again crying. When they were cutting the cake, he screamed extremely loud. He pushed my sister-in-law who was holding a glass of wine and spilled on her. She started crying. She turned around to leave and I looked at her and said, "I told you so." She started crying even more now. When I got home, my mom called me extremely immature and wants me to apologize. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. That child sounds horrible. Unfortunately, so do you. My favorite part of the story was when she said that sister-in-law has to be right about everything. Meanwhile, I feel like given we're deciding that OP is the a-hole for disrupting wedding procedures because she didn't understand appropriate behavior for wedding functions, it might be a bit more appropriate to call it everyone sucks here, since that equally applies to the nephew's parents for bringing him to the reception in the middle of a meltdown and letting him run rampant. Opie for sure was kicking sister-in-law when she was already down, but I feel like the massively greater amount of chaos caused by the nephew makes it about even in terms of who was more of an a-hole here. You're the a-hole. This is absolutely a "you're not wrong, Walter, you're just an a-hole" situation. It doesn't matter that you were right. There was no need to be that person in the moment. Exactly. What did Opie hope to accomplish by telling someone who is already having a horrible time, "I told you so"? Did it bring Opie some additional sense of satisfaction or joy? Everyone sucks here. Bad moment to say something like that, but man, I wish I was there to see it. They got mad at you for trying to save the wedding from drama. Then you're proven right, and now it's suddenly not okay? Again, bad timing, but I love the pettiness. Last story is titled, "Am I the a-hole for not changing my dress that the bride picked out at my brother's wedding?" My 19 female brother and his now wife got married last month, and apparently I caused an issue so disastrous that is being talked about a month later. I am not super close with my brother's wife, Jess, but close enough that we talk sometimes. I hate wearing dresses due to personal issues, so Jess helped me pick one that was in my style and comfort. It was a dark green dress with black lace covering it and spaghetti straps. Jess said I could wear Doc Martens and keep my piercings in. I only have like 5. Looking at myself all dolled up was the first time in forever that I actually liked my appearance. Everything is fine until the reception. My brother comes up to me and tells me I need to change. I ask why, and he says Jess is upset that I've upstaged her. I was super confused. She picked the dress. I ask what the issue is. Well, apparently the dress is more fitted than Jess initially realized and was feeling insecure about her body. Here's where I might be the a-hole. I refused to get changed. I told my brother that he's marrying a model. Not that they can't have insecurities, but that I'm sure my 5'1", 180-pound self looks like a goblin next to her. He told me to get changed or leave. I ended up sitting outside the venue with all the stoners, so I had a fun time anyway. It's been a month and my brother still isn't over it. He called me selfish even though I left. I tried to apologize to Jess, but she told me to not worry about it. But her tone also seems like she's annoyed. The kicker is, Jess's aunt has been making comments about it online, which hasn't made things any easier. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. She literally picked out the dress for you. Just because you looked better in it than she thought you would, doesn't give her the right to try and have you change. Exactly. And for brother to insist she changed the dress. And what should she change to? Wrap tablecloth around herself? I don't know for others, but when I went on my 3 siblings' wedding, I just had dress that was on me. Not a closet full extra dresses for case that bride might have bridezilla tantrum fit. Opie not the a-hole, and tell brother to get over himself. World does not go around him and his wife. It's been 1 month after the wedding, so he needs to put his big boy pants and grow up, instead of behaving like an insulted princess. I'm wondering why the bride would get so annoyed with a guest looking good. Any dress she chose. Did she want Opie to look wrong/bad and that's why she's angry? I'm also wondering if the bride meant for Opie to look frumpy and then got mad when the dress fit really well/her plan backfired. Not the a-hole. She picked it. In real life, you don't get to change your mind and make everyone change for you because your feelings are hurt. She didn't like that you looked too good at her wedding. That's horrible. Did she pick something that she thought would look bad or mediocre on you? I'm not sure. On the model, it looked a little baggy. But she was also a size 10, whereas I'm size 16/18. The dress fit perfectly. Just hugged my curves a little more than was shown on the model. Jess is absolutely stunning. She's a freaking model. Not to say models can't have insecurities, but and I mean this in the nicest way, cannot find a legitimate reason as to why she'd be insecure because of me. It doesn't necessarily mean she thinks you look better than her. Sometimes people just need other people around them to look bad so that they can feel pretty. When you're shown in a dress, more so than you have probably shown in a while based on your own assessment of how you looked in it upset that balance for her. You're supposed to be the unattractive one, but when you showed up, you surprised everyone with how stunning you are, whereas she looked the same as always. Hi everyone, just a reminder. 1. Jess picked the dress for me to wear. I wore it. 2. She had my brother ask me to change her leave. I did not have a change of clothes, so I left. 3. You are complaining about me even though I did everything she asked. Seems like I'm not a problem here, but Jess. And you just might be. Copy and paste as needed.